Awesome. Good morning. How are you? I'm Mel Robbins. I am the author of The 5 Second Rule. It's in 32 languages, all displayed behind me. I'm also the host of the daytime syndicated talk show, The Mel Robbins Show. I just want to give a quick shout out. This is our team from The Mel Robbins Show, shot at CBS Broadcast Center just before they evacuated the building. No joke. I miss all of you so much. This show is still airing, The Mel Robbins Show, on television nationwide in the United States through September, so tune in. I am also the best-selling author of 3 #1 audiobooks, all Audible originals on Audible that are all about anxiety, mindset, taking control of your life. And when the pandemic hit, our team decided to launch this live broadcast, which is what you're watching right now. We're calling it Stay Connected with Mel Robbins. I am here every single weekday at noon for you. So today is Monday, March 23rd. I want to have you give yourself a huge pat on the back. You made it. You made it to the broadcast. You made it through the weekend. For those of you that are brand new to our community and to this live broadcast, I want to welcome you. My family has been in self-isolation for more than a week. We are outside of Boston, Massachusetts. Can you tell me, where are you watching from? And if you are isolating, how many days have you been isolating? And if there's anything else that you want to say, good or bad, in order for you to be present for today's topic, which is so incredibly important, I want you to say it in the comments, and we're going to give everybody a chance to kind of come in. So tell us where you're tuning in from and how many days you've been isolating. And if you need to say anything in order to be present for this incredibly important conversation. What are we talking about today on Stay Connected with Mel Robbins? We are talking about money. Are you feeling anxious because of money? Have you lost your job? Are you worried you're going to lose your job? Are you worried about how you're going to pay your bills as the pandemic hits? You know, there was an incredible quote that one of our team members just sent to me that I want to share with you, because I think this sums up where we're all at, everybody. This was from the St. Louis Federal Reserve President, James Bullard, on television this morning, talking about the stock market crashing. And I'm going to give you on today's broadcast the 5 things that you need to do right now if you're feeling anxious about money and how the coronavirus and this pandemic is going to impact you financially. But this is the quote that I want you to take in, because today's broadcast will leave you in action, as all of our broadcasts do. But I'm going to be, I think, more urgent than I normally am about what I want you to do. Here's the quote. The good news is that I think we will win this war, but the bad news is that we will have to fight the battle. And now, particularly as it relates to your anxiety about money or your job or losing your job or how you're going to get through this is a battle you need to fight right now. And you're going to hear me talk a lot about the fact that we're moving from the idea that isolating and a pandemic is a novel idea to it being the new normal. And what we're seeing, because our family has been isolating now since, last week, Friday, what we're seeing is last week being home as a family. My husband, Chris, and I have been married for 24 years. We have 3 children. One is 21 and a junior in college. One is, 19, and she's a freshman in college. And one of them is 15, and he's in 8th grade. And what we have seen over the weekend is an uptick in our kids' anxiety. We've seen an uptick in restlessness as our family settles into, oh, this is novel, we're all home. Oh, this is novel, we're kind of irritating each other. Oh, this is novel, we're bored. Oh, this is novel, we're cooking a lot. Oh, this is a novel, we're taking the dog for the 8th walk today. into the new normal, which is, holy shit, how long are we going to be here? What? What do you mean classes are going online, but they're not going online? But what do you mean I might not have a job? What do you mean my summer internship is over? What do you mean? What? It is the new normal. And so what I want to talk to you about today is the urgency that I want you to bring to dealing with your financial reality. Because the only thing that will lower anxiety about money is you taking action and being proactive. And from the very beginning, ever since we started these Stay Connected live broadcasts every single day, 8 a.m. in LA, noon on the East Coast, 4 o'clock in the UK, 9:30 at night in India. Our friends in Australia, 3 o'clock in the morning. You might be up right now. If you're watching in Australia, give me some hearts, because you're probably up because you're anxious about money. I've said from the beginning, there are basically 4 things I want you to think about always. Actually, it's 5. First, your safety and your family's safety. The second is, I always want to give you the correct and powerful perspective so that you can do the third thing, which is plan for yourself. I'm always going to remind you and give you tools to be patient and resilient. And then we're going to leave you in action and thinking about the opportunity of this moment, whether it's an opportunity to take control or an opportunity to deepen your perspective about yourself or an opportunity to be more innovative or creative. And today's broadcast about how to lower your anxiety about money worries is going to cover all 5. Safety of you and your family, the proper perspective, the plan that you need to take, the patience and resilience you need to cultivate, and the opportunity for growth that is even inside this moment of anxiety. I have my business partner, Mandy, in my ears. So Mandy, if there's any comments or anything that you want me to share with people as we're going, you let me know, okay? So before we jump into the guts of how you lower your anxiety around money and the specific steps I want you to take, there are 5 things I want you to do as it relates to lowering your anxiety around money. I want to just share with you what, briefly, a minute, give me a minute, what's happened in our household, because a lot of you are asking. Yesterday was a big milestone in our family, because not only had we been self-quarantined for over a week together, but we got news that one of our daughter's friends has tested positive for the coronavirus. That means our family is now officially 1 person away from having a positive diagnosis. And there's no doubt in my mind that my family is probably all infected with it right now. Why? Well, because the daughter that I'm talking about spent her entire spring break with this person and then went back to school for a week with this person who she is with every single day. So there is now no doubt in my mind that I probably have it. My kids probably have it. My husband probably has it. And knock on wood, nobody is symptomatic at the moment. My daughter has a slight cough, but here's what I've noticed. I've been assuming that I have the coronavirus because we taped the Mel Robbins show, which is a daytime syndicated talk show that airs on television 5 days a week, still airing all the way through September. Tune in. Because there were so many CBS employees in our building between 60 Minutes and CBS News that tested positive, and they shut down the CBS broadcast center where I work. So I just kind of assumed, but I'll tell you something. When you get the news that somebody that is 1 degree from you has tested positive, it's amazing how your mind screws with you. Because my mind immediately went, oh, my chest is tight. Oh my gosh, I feel this. I started to feel the panic coming on. And so it's really important that as you go day to day, that you continue with the advice that we gave you about staying resilient, that you continue to police your mind, that you continue to stick to your routine to give yourself some predictability. Because with the news that's both personal, because this is personal news, and the news that you're going to see out in the world, there will be things that trigger you. And so continuing to practice the skills of not letting those thoughts hijack you and not making yourself hysterical is critical for your mental and physical health. The second thing that happened last night that is brand new, and I'm wondering, is this happening for you? Are you having nightmares? Have you seen an increase in nightmares ever since this has started? And Mandy, if you start to see comments, let me know. At 2:13 last night, I heard the door to my bedroom open, and I immediately startled awake, and it was our 19-year-old daughter. And she said, "Mom, I'm having the worst nightmare. Can I sleep with you and Dad?" This is our 19-year-old daughter. So I get up, I say, of course, and I hear something in the kitchen. And I walk out of the bedroom, and our bedroom is right off our kitchen. And there is our son, who's 15, wide awake, on his phone, on FaceTime with a bunch of his friends, just wandering around playing video games because they can't sleep. And it was a wake-up call for me that my kids certainly need a little bit more calming from me. And maybe the routine, which has been really powerful, isn't enough. Maybe they're going through this kind of phase from the novelty of all of this self-isolation and the quarantine and into the new normal, which is very discombobulating. And so I want to share with you an analogy that I think will help you. And then we're going to jump into the teaching, which is the 5 things you need to do right now to lower the anxiety that you may be feeling around money. And even if you don't feel anxious around it, these are 5 steps I think every person around the world needs to take right now. I'm reading this book, which I can't recommend highly enough. I know it's reverse on Instagram. Is it reverse in Social Life? Okay, great. So this is Glennon Doyle's new work. It's #1 on the New York Times, #1 on USA Today, #1 in Publishers Weekly, #1 in the Washington Post. It just released. It's really incredible. And one of the things that she talked about is that when she announced that she was getting a divorce to her kids, and that news, of course, just went off like a bomb inside her family, she started having nightmares and started thinking, I'm ruining my family. I'm destroying my children. Oh my God. And she picked up the phone and she called a friend of hers. It's a best-selling author that you may have heard of, Elizabeth Gilbert, and asked Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love and many other best-selling books, for advice. And Elizabeth Gilbert gave her this airplane analogy. And I want to share it with you because I found it very helpful in grounding me during this unprecedented moment of time. And it's one of the reasons why we started this show, Stay Connected, 5 days a week, to connect with you and keep you calm and keep you in control and keep you able to move through this unprecedented moment of collective anxiety and stress and uncertainty with a level of grace and resilience and being able to control the things that are within your control. And, you know, I'm going to say it, even grow and come out on the other side, having landed as a stronger and better version of yourself. And so back to the airplane analogy. So basically, I want you to consider that right now we're on an airplane and there's severe turbulence. And there's nothing worse than being on an airplane with severe turbulence. And it's very discombobulating because, of course, what do you want to know? When are we going to be through it? When is it going to end? When are we going to level out this plane? When are we going to stop bouncing around? When? What if this? What if that? What if the other thing? And do you know one of the most powerful things that helps you get through a very turbulent run in an airplane? It's the pilot and the stewards. And if the pilot and the stewards are calm, and if the pilots and stewards are telling you, previewing what's coming, oh, we're going to go through a patch of turbulence. It's going to last 5 minutes. It's going to last an hour. We're searching for calmer air. We're trying things out. Everybody's safe. We're still going to land in Chicago as planned. Right now, it's just going to be bumpy. If you see a calm steward and a calm pilot, and if you see them previewing what you can expect in a calm, proactive, positive way, you start to internalize, oh, this is momentary, and we're going to get through this. That is my job in your life right now. And it's also my job in my family's life to preview what's coming, to be calm and caring and measured and positive, and to hold room for the up and down emotions that are going to rise as you're going through turbulence. It may feel like things are crashing. We're not going to crash. We're going to land in Chicago as planned, and you're going to get off this plane, and you are going to be stronger and better and more positive. And the reason why you're going to is because you and I are going to get each other through this. And every day we're going to share with each other how we're getting ourselves through this and the tools and the strategies that we're using that are going to help. And so, oh, we have a couple comments. Great. Tracy wakes up anxious about all this. Marianne says her 17-year-old came to her bed last night too. Nicole said, I've been having lots of nightmares, but last night it was lucid, very crazy, most vivid dreams. If that's you, give us some thumbs up, because I want you to know, excuse me, you're not alone. This is a collective moment. And I think that's why it makes it so unique, is that normally when you go through a personal crisis, you tend to do it on your own. This crisis, we're doing it together. Let me get a sip of water here. And so let's get to the topic at hand, which is, how do you deal with the money anxiety that you may be feeling right now? And I have a quote to kick us off. We tend to forget that baby steps still move you forward. And so I'm going to talk about the baby steps, and they all fall inside the context of everything we do on Stay Connected with Mel Robbins. It's reminding you to stay safe and your family to stay safe, to have the proper perspective, to plan based on the facts, to be patient and resilient, and to look for the opportunities to grow. And so the first thing I want to give you when it comes to money anxiety is I want to give you the proper perspective. And I don't mean to be an alarmist. I am not a certified financial advisor. I am not somebody who even really understands the stock market all that well. I leave that to the experts. I am not a banker. I'm not an accountant. You should talk to people in your life if you have people in your life that either help you with financial advice or that you respect as it relates to financial decisions. But I want to give you a proper perspective, the perspective that I'm using, because I'm hoping that you will realize that this is an important moment for you to face your fears and for you to get very proactive. I read an article in The Atlantic yesterday that the stock market has lost 20% of its value in 21 days. And I want to put that in perspective for you so you understand what an unprecedented moment in time this is. That is more and greater of a loss than we experienced in the Great Depression in 1929. It's greater than what we experienced in the first dot-com crash in 1987, and it is 10 times the loss that was experienced in 2007. This is unprecedented. And it's important for you to realize that, because this is not just a moment where you can kind of ignore what's going on. It's a moment where you have to have the proper perspective that, yes, we're going to get through this. But when we get through this and we come out of self-isolation, it's not going to be just stepping back into the same old world. When you think about the impact to some of the industries that are the backbone of this country, whether you're talking about the airline industry or you're talking about the hotel industry, and the devastation to those businesses, it's going to take time for things to get back to normal. It's going to take time for people who've had their life savings blown in the stock market crash to start to feel comfortable spending money again. It's going to take time for businesses who have had to furlough or shut down and who have experienced as major losses in terms of the amount of revenue coming in. that there is kind of a domino effect to all of this, which is why I'm sounding the alarm today, not in a hysterical way, but to say there's an opportunity here for you to lessen your money anxiety by not paying attention to everything going on out there, but by turning inward and paying attention to what you need to do to make sure you are safe and you are in control of your financial life. And look, I need to say something loud and clear. This is a collective issue. And if you're scared right now, if you've lost your job, if you're worried about running out of money, you're not alone. 58% of Americans have less than $1,000 in savings. 58%. So if you're worried about money, if you don't have the savings to see yourself through the end of the summer, you're not alone. You're in the majority, which is why I want to talk about this. In 2007, when we had that huge recession in the United States because the real estate market bottomed out because of all of the fraudulent loan activities of all the big banks, and we hit that major recession, therapists coined a term that they called money anxiety disorder. They saw people who had very destructive attachment issues and behavior issues related to money during that recession. And there were three things that they saw. And I want you to pause for a minute and ask yourself, are you seeing this in yourself or people that you love? Number one, you start hoarding money, right? You hold on to it so much and you're terrified to spend it. Number two, you become so frugal with what you're doing. Or number three, and this is kind of as weird as it sounds, I think this one's probably the most common. You're overspending. You're sort of in this denial that there's a big problem coming. And you spend in order to distract yourself. I did. See the sweatshirt I bought? I love it. But when we went into self-isolation, the first website I went to, Nordstrom's. And what I found to be really weird, because normally I kind of shop out of boredom, and I'm one of those people that put things in a cart, but I don't necessarily buy it. One of the things that I saw on the Nordstrom site as I was purchasing this sweatshirt is there were more people looking at the item at the same time than I had ever seen before in my entire life. Nordstrom has this little thing where if you're looking at an item, it says 73 other people viewing it. I had never in my life seen numbers that high. And overspending is a sign that you are anxious about money. Hoarding money, a sign that you're anxious about money. And here's one of the things that we noticed doing the Mel Robbins show is that when you get nervous about money, it is incredibly common to stop opening your bills. It's incredibly common to go into a mode where you feel paralyzed by it and overwhelmed by it instead of getting proactive, which is what we all need to do. And there's an even deeper psychological reason why money anxiety triggers you so deeply. It's because money is attached to your fundamental needs. Do you remember something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs in high school? It's this concept that you and I, that human beings, we have basically a triangle of needs. And on the bottom, the part here that I have highlighted in orange, these are your fundamental needs. This basically means if you don't have this shit covered, you're dead. And so when this stuff gets threatened, the fundamental needs, I'm going to explain what they are in just a second, you go into panic mode. Up a little higher, once you got your fundamental needs, you need water, you need sleep, you need shelter, you need oxygen, you need food, you need clothing. Once you have those things, you can then go to the needs of the heart, connection, love, community. And then once you got that handled, you can go up here to personal development, to your soul, to your creativity. The reason why money anxiety is at an all-time high is because money is tied to being able to buy food. Money is tied to being able to have shelter. Money is tied to you feeling psychologically safe. And since it's attached to your fundamental needs, it's going to make you feel even more anxious right now When you walk into Costco and there's no diapers left, or you walk into the grocery store and there's no toilet paper left, or you start to see the bills coming in, which threatens your ability to pay for your shelter or pay your utilities, you're going to feel more anxiety right now. This is acute. And that's why I want to talk about what you need to do right now. Because if you don't start to take control of the money situation, your anxiety that's tied to your basic needs is going to start to go up, 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 up. And remember the analogy on the plane. If you're the pilot or if you're the steward, I need you to stay calm. I need you to be in control. I need you to know that we are going to land in Chicago and that this turbulence is not going to make the plane crash. But if you start to get completely wackadoodle in your stress about money, you could make your own life crash because you don't take the steps now to put the proper plan in place. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. Okay. We're going to talk about the 5 things I want you to do if you're worried about money. And everybody should be worried about money. Me personally, there are 2 things that Chris and I are doing right now, and they all relate to these 5 steps. The 2 things Chris and I are doing is today, Chris is pulling all of the facts together. What are our outstanding bills? How much money do we have in the bank? What do our savings accounts look like? I haven't even looked because I've been nervous to look based on the stock market. I'm succumbing to it. If you don't have savings, you're not alone. 58% of Americans don't have savings. So or have less than $1,000 in savings. So this isn't just for people that have savings account. Everybody needs to stop and accept the new normal. What does that mean? In my mind, the new normal means the end of this year. The new normal means that you want to stop and you want to assess if this is going to go on in terms of self-isolation for a couple months, which I think it probably will. And then we come out of it. It's going to take a little bit of time. So I need you to accept the new normal instead of being in denial. Because if you don't deal with this today, 2 weeks from now, you're going to have a panic attack when you go to the grocery store because you're not going to have the money to buy the basic essentials that you need. So accept the new normal. You don't have to take my date. You could pick July 1. You could pick September 1. And by the way, I've got good news at the end of this, so stay with me. Number 2, I need you to face your fear and get the facts. This is the most important part. You ready? What does this mean? Face your fears and get the facts. We're all terrified that you're going to run out of money. We're all terrified that you're not going to make it through this pandemic. You are going to make it through it. We're going to make it through it together. I guarantee you we will. You can face the facts, face your fear right now and get the facts. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to pull 2 months of your bank statements. Okay. I don't care if you have 0 savings. I'm sure you have a checking account. I'm sure you have to work with a bank in order to manage your money. Pull 2 months of records from your bank online, print them out, and then go through them. And you're going to need 2 things. Get a highlighter and get a pen. Any single thing that is a negative coming out of your bank statement, highlight it. That's all I want you to do. And then I want you to start to make a list of all of the different places that you pay monthly to every single month. I realize I'm being very, very elementary here. When people get afraid, we got to go back to the basics. So print out 2 months of your bank statements, pull out a highlighter, highlight all of the deductions from your account. That's going to tell you where you're spending money, because I bet if you're anything like me, you have no fucking clue where your money is going half the time. You had no idea that you charge that many movies on Netflix. You didn't realize that you were still on auto pay for a gym that you haven't been to for 18 months. So highlight all of the things that are deductions and then make a list of all of those businesses. Okay? Why? The reason why is now we're going to go from being paralyzed to proactive. Okay? Now that you know what your monthly bills look like, and you know how much money you have in the bank or not, now you need to go from being paralyzed to proactive. That's step number 3. This is what I'm going to call the toilet paper moment. Remember 3 weeks ago when people told you to get prepared? Remember that? I remember how many people were like, if I get corona, I get corona. It only hurts young people. They're never going to isolate here. Remember those days? Well, I need you to start to listen to the experts. And the experts say that this is going to last many months. And the experts say that the economic fallout from this is going to last quite a while. And the experts say, I don't give a shit what your uncle says on Facebook. Now is a time to listen to the experts. You got it? Good. So it's also a time to go from being paralyzed to proactive. Now that you've highlighted all the deductions and you have listed all the businesses, now it is time to pick up the phone and get proactive. So here's what I want you to do. Anything you don't need, get rid of. If there is a subscription to something that you don't need, get rid of it. If you don't watch cable anymore, get rid of, this is time to cut the cord. If you don't go to the gym, time to cut the cord. If you've got a office at a WeWork or somewhere, time to end the lease. It is time to face reality, everybody. You also need to get onto your smartphone and dig into iTunes or the App Store on your Samsung and figure out what apps are charging you that you didn't even realize. Where do you have in-app purchases that you didn't even realize? Is your kid's Xbox attached to your credit card? Now is the time to take control of this stuff, everybody. If you pay a mortgage, because the federal government has not taken nationwide action, which they freaking need to do, you have to go state by state. So go to your state government website and there will be information there about state by state relief in terms of mortgages. If you are renting, call your landlord if you have lost your job or if you are furloughed or if you are worried, and be in communication. Do not go into hiding. If you're hiding, you're paralyzed. If you're in communication, you're being proactive. For local taxes, you got to go local. Local governments are the ones in charge of your taxes. A lot of colleges, if your kids are home, has started to offer refunds on a prorated basis for room and board, which isn't being used right now. You need to pick up the phone. You need to start sending emails, and you need to get in front of this. Why? Well, because we tend to forget. Let's go to the quote. We tend to forget that baby steps still move you forward. And just like a daily routine gives you predictability, being in action, even if your landlord is a dickhead, even if you don't get the result you want, you are taking proactive steps. And that's what I need you to do. Got it? Good. Mandy, if we have any questions specifically about this, please let me know. So far, we've talked about accepting the new normal. I need you to face the fear and get the facts, which means print out your bank statement, look at your apps, look at the Xbox, look at all the sneaky ways that money's coming out of your account, get the facts about how much you actually have. Number 3, I need you to move from being paralyzed to proactive. This is the toilet paper moment. I don't want to see another video of somebody crying in a Costco because they didn't get diapers. I'm not kidding about this. We are in the new normal, everybody. And then 4, this is a great little mindset hack. Let me see if we've got any questions or comments. Mandy, you got anything you want me to say? Mandy's a little delayed. And if your anxiety is rising, I'm going to tell you what that means. It means that you know there's a wisdom in you. You know what I'm saying is right. And you're afraid to face it. And one thing that I know for sure, because all of my work, everybody, the 5-second rule book, which has been read by millions of people around the world, translated into 32 languages, the tools in this book are being used by pediatricians and veterans organizations to help people calm their anxiety, to help them make unbelievable changes, tons of science-backed tools in this book. My entire work is about helping you be resilient and courageous in moments of change and crisis. and helping you change your behaviors. So if your anxiety is ticking up as you listen to me, that is your own wisdom telling you, pay attention to Mel. If this is scaring you, it's because you know you need to face this. We saw this over and over on the Mel Robbins show. People in grave financial crisis who hadn't opened their bills in months. It's very normal to hide from the things that scare you. And I can see people dropping off. You know what that tells me? Those are people that are scared. If you're hanging with me, I want to applaud you because it means you're going to face this. And we still got 2 more steps, and I've got really good news to end this on. Go ahead, Mandy. What do you say about Teresa's asking, who do you recommend to go to facts on this? I would strongly recommend that you start with the state and local websites when it comes to mortgages and bills and taxes and any kind of relief. Until there is an organized federal response to this crisis, everything is going to be a patchwork that is controlled by your local or state government. I wish I had a much better answer. The other thing that I would personally do is I would go to the podcast providers and I would search for the top 5 ranked financial podcasts, and I would see who is doing podcasts related to money that is current, that's being released right now. And I think what you're going to see, at least I hope, is that, we're going to see federal action to help freeze utility bills, to help free up some of this burden. I hope what you're going to see is that employers start to run the numbers and they furlough wages so that the hit is spread across everybody, but people keep their jobs. That's what I hope, but I don't know, which is why I'm giving you the 5 steps. Accept the new normal, face your fears and get the facts about your financial reality. Move from feeling paralyzed to being proactive. And now, here's a really great tip for mindset. Pretend that the bills that you're looking at and the financial reality that you're looking at are either your best friends or your brother or sisters. Why? If you pretend that the bills that you're looking at or the financial reality that you're looking at is somebody else's, you leverage the power of objectivity, which means you and I could look at somebody else's bills and be like, oh my God, dude, you got to get rid of that cable bill. Oh, what the hell? Why are you subscribing to all this stuff online, for crying out loud? You got to get rid of this. Or, dude, why are you paying for this thing you're not using? Or we would have a level of objectivity and boom. And so you can hack that in your own mind when you look at your bank statement. Don't make yourself wrong. That's only going to make it less motivating. Look at the bank statement, look at what you highlighted, look at the amount of money that you have. Don't make yourself wrong. And then say, if this were my brother, my sister, or my best friend, what tough love would I give them right now? What would I cut out? And now is the time to be doing it. Now is the time to pick up the phone. Now is the time to email. Now is the time to be proactive. Why? Well, because most people are afraid to do this. Most people are going to let anxiety paralyze them. And so while there's still enough people in the call centers picking up the phones and you can get a human being, now's the time to make the call. Now's the time to be the first tenant calling your landlord. Now's the time to be one of the first people canceling their gym membership. Now's the time to have the conversation with your kids about what it is that you're cutting out in terms of what they have access to online or what apps they've subscribed to or whatever it may be. And then here's the final piece of advice, the 5 things you need to do right now. And I'm going to sum them all up, but I've got really positive news coming up in just a second. Here's the final thing. You have to check your ego at the door. This isn't happening to you. It's happening to the world. This isn't your personal crisis. This is a global crisis. And I need you to take comfort in that. I need you to understand that everybody is facing some level of crisis thanks to the coronavirus. I won't even say it. Everybody is facing some level of crisis. This isn't unique to you. And inside of that is an enormous opportunity because collectively we're going through something. And collectively, people are rallying at a local level. And there are resources available to help you that have been launched in the last week. There are people that are dying to help other people that have stepped up in the last week. So this is a time to check your ego and to ask for help, whether that help is from your family, or it's from your friends, or it's from your neighborhood, or it's from your local government, or it's from the local food pantry. It is also the time to ask for employment. And so this is, if you've been laid off from a job and you're worried about money, not every business is shrinking. There are businesses that are growing. There are businesses that are hiring. And I'm going to tell you 5 businesses that are hiring right now. Walmart just announced that they are hiring 150,000 temporary workers. The Dollar Tree just announced they are hiring 25,000 workers. Amazon just announced this week they're hiring 100,000 people. Domino's is looking for another 10,000 people. Grocery store chains are looking for people. And this is also a moment in time where you can get creative. I guarantee you, hospitals, call centers, places that are having to handle inbound questions, janitorial services and cleaning services, I bet, are hiring. If you need money, there are jobs out there. Start looking for them. And it's also a moment where you can get creative. Yes, a lot of good neighbors are volunteering to get groceries for their elderly neighbors or people like us who are concerned that they might be positive with the virus. But if you were to put up a post on Facebook in your neighborhood, there's an app called Nextdoor, which is all about local communities. If you were to put something up there, I've just lost my job. I'm worried about paying my rent. I've just lost my job. I'm worried about groceries. I have a car. I haven't tested positive for this virus. I'm willing to run errands for a small fee. I'm willing to do odd jobs for a small fee. You might be surprised that you might be able to make some money. Will it get you through the long haul? I don't know. What I do know is checking your ego at the door, being proactive, being objective as if you're giving somebody else the advice that you need to hear, facing your fears and getting the facts and accepting this as the new normal. That is what will get you through this moment in time. Action lowers anxiety, not more thinking. Action. And that's what you need to take. I'm going to take a question or two. Mandy, if you have one, if you have a question, stick it in the, and by the way, if you've got a friend or a family member that's lost their job or is freaking out about money, please tag them in this. Or better yet, if you go to YouTube or Facebook, it's very easy to just forward the link to a friend so they can watch it. Please, this is essential advice. You got people on the news basically arguing and leading with super scary stuff. You got to narrow your focus to what you can control. And one of the most important things right now, everybody, is you got to deal with your fundamental needs. And money is attached to that. Money is attached to your housing. It's attached to food. It's attached to utilities. It's attached to everything. And it's why I need you to face this right now. Because just like 3 weeks ago, when everybody said this was going to hit the United States, we're on the same exact trajectory as Italy. 3 weeks ago, when that was what the experts were saying. Who are the experts? The people that have studied epidemiology forever, the people that are in infectious disease, the people that teach this, those are the experts. They were saying this 3 weeks ago. And I'm telling you right now, 3 weeks from now, everybody's going to be panicking about money. So I want you to lower your anxiety now and know that you accepted the new normal. You faced your fears and got your facts straight about where you stand. You moved yourself from being paralyzed to opening those bills, to making those calls, to making those asks and being proactive. You kept asking yourself, well, if this were the situation my brother or sister or my best friend were in, what tough love would I give him? Leverage the power of objectivity. And finally, you checked your ego at the door in this moment and you asked for help, or you registered for services, or you applied for a job that you normally wouldn't apply for, that is what is going to get you through, because that is what resilient people do. You do what is necessary in the times that you are facing. Go ahead, Mandy. It's a great question. Who do you turn to? Here's who I would turn to. Who do you turn to if you don't have a family support structure and the friends that you do have are so busy supporting their own family that they don't have time? I want you to turn to, I wish I had, I do. I want you to turn here. Go to Facebook. We have a Facebook group that is growing by the thousands every single day. It's called Stay Connected with Mel Robbins. It's free to join. Right now it's open to the public. As it grows bigger and bigger, we're going to make it private and by invite only. And the reason why is the community management part of this is really important to me. If you don't have a support structure, you will find one here immediately. This is a global community of people who are staying positive, who are staying connected, who are keeping each other inspired. We are doing our best right now to make sure this is not a place where people are putting updates about COVID-19 to freak you out. This is for resources, for tools, for positivity, for the occasional laugh. And what we have noticed about our community, Stay Connected with Mel Robbins, is the community is incredible. So people are posting what they're doing, how they're coping, little tools and strategies and hacks that they've discovered. And what we're seeing is community members jump on and you get dozens, if not hundreds of people cheering for you. And so you can find a virtual support group by going to our Facebook page. When you go there and you join, invite your friends, invite your family, invite everybody. Because why? If we stay connected, we will get through this together. We are better together. We are stronger together. If we keep sharing the things that are working, if we keep sharing facts, if we keep sharing tools and inspiration, we will get through this. Now, I want to remind you of the quote I started with, because I think this is true of today. The good news is that I think we will win this war, but the bad news is that we will have to fight the battle. How do you fight the battle? That brings me to the second quote. You tend to forget baby steps move you forward. I'm asking you for baby steps today. Print out your bank statement. Face it. Come armed with a highlighter and a pen. Highlight everything that's coming out so that you can get the facts on where you are. And once you know where you are, then it's time to get proactive and get rid of things you don't need right now. Communicate with people that you need relief from, and check your ego at the door. You do those things, you're going to be in the minority of people right now, because you will be taking control of your life. You will be doing things to lower your anxiety. And it's not easy to do these things. It is essential for you to do these things. Tomorrow, we're talking about an equally important topic, and that is emotional eating. This weekend, I felt like I was literally moving from one meal to the next meal, to the next meal, to the next meal, to the next meal, to the next meal. And so we're going to talk about emotional eating, the triggers, how to support yourself if you tend to be somebody who is an emotional eater when you get stressed out. And so there you have it. I think that's it. In case nobody else tells you, please let me be the one to tell you, I believe in you. I believe in your ability to face the things that make you nervous right now. I believe in your ability to get the facts and to move from feeling paralyzed and powerless to being super proactive. You're going to be very proud of yourself when you do that. And I'm going to be very proud of you. Please make sure you get into Stay Connected, our Facebook group, because you're going to get a lot more support there around the clock from other people, because this is a collective experience. This isn't happening to you. It's happening to all of us. And if we stay together and stay connected, we're going to get through it better. Remember, it's turbulent, but it's going to level out, and then we're going to land. And when we land, we're going to be stronger and better versions of ourselves. Thank you for being here. I'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. in LA, noon in the East Coast, 4 p.m. in the UK, and 9:30 in India, and 3 a.m. to our friends in Australia. And you can find all of our episodes on YouTube. I think that's it.